screen? So in any iterative method, do you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in any iterative method will only work when the error will be decreasing to zero as the iteration is increasing. So in each iteration, the error should decrease. If it is remaining same, then the method will not converge towards the solution of the problem. So error must decrease. I should not say must decrease. It should converge to zero. That is strict. Then reducing error should decrease. This is much vague statement compared to the error is decreasing to zero. Anyway, so I told you this is the relation which the error should satisfy. This let me use this yellow pen. So this is the error. This is the error xn plus 1 minus alpha. This is the error in n plus 1th iteration, and right hand side you have mod of xn minus alpha power p. So mod of xn minus alpha, that is the error in nth iteration. So if the error in n plus 1th iteration, left hand side we have alpha, sorry, epsilon n plus 1. So that is the error in n plus 1th iteration. So if the error in n plus 1th iteration is less than equals to c time the error in nth iteration power p, then that p is called the order of convergence. And if it has to be true, this relation has to be true for all n. So that p is called the order of convergence. And if you have seen in this example, if the value of p is more, then the error will be converging towards zero very rapidly as the value of p is increasing. So the method which has large p value, that method will give you the solution very quickly in terms of number of iteration. Okay. So we explained that order of convergence of bisection method is 1. Now we'll be discussing the order of convergence of Newton-Raphson method. Is it okay so far? So tell me the formula for
Yes, sir.
Newton-Raphson method. Tell me the formula. How do we find the root? Suppose the equation is f of x equals to 0. Tell me the formula.
X of n plus 1 is equals to f of n minus f of xn on f of f dash of x.
xn plus 1 equals
Okay,
xn
so
minus f of xn upon f dash xn.
this is what you are saying, na?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we have, so what is epsilon n? What is epsilon n? The error in nth iteration. What is that quantity? That is, tell me, approximate value xn minus exact root alpha.
Alpha.
Okay, alpha is exact root. Okay, and then what will be epsilon n plus 1? That will be xn plus 1 minus alpha. Is that clear to you?
Yes, sir.
In the derivation, the following results I am going to use. So tell me what is Taylor series expansion about x? What is f of x plus h? Tell me the Taylor series expansion. F of x plus h times f dash x plus h square by factorial 2 into f double dash x and so on. This is the Taylor series, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So this is the result we are going to use in all the derivations almost. Regular policy, second, Newton-Raphson. So this is the Taylor series. Okay. And one more result I am going to use, that is the expansion of this. What is the expansion of this? Tell me. 1 by 1 plus x. Tell me the series of this function.
1 minus x. plus x square
X.
minus x cube and so on.
So this is the formula I am also going to use. Okay, fine. So now come back to this side. So what we have on the left hand side, let us call this formula A. So from A, what we have on the left hand side? Tell me, what is xn plus 1? Epsilon n plus 1 minus or plus alpha. Is not it?
Yes, sir.
And what is xn? Epsilon n plus,
Plus alpha.
okay, minus f of what is xn? Epsilon n plus alpha, is not it? So what is xn? Alpha plus epsilon n, and what will be in the denominator? F dash alpha,
Alpha
plus
plus xn.
epsilon n. Is that clear to you so far? Now we will
Yes,
not
sir.
be doing anything else. I'll simply be applying Taylor series first in both these expressions, f of alpha plus epsilon n and f dash alpha plus epsilon n. So let me write down epsilon n plus 1 we have on the left hand side, right hand side we have epsilon n minus, tell me the series expansion of the numerator, f of alpha plus epsilon times f dash alpha plus epsilon n square by factorial 2 into f double dash alpha and so on. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Excuse
Okay.
me, sir.
Now, see, remember, tell me.
Sir, in the Taylor series expansion of 1 upon 1 plus x, shouldn't it be 1 minus x plus x square upon 2 factorial minus x cube upon 3?
No, 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 no. You have forgotten. This is the exact formula for 1 by 1 plus x. Okay. You check it. You can use the derivative and you can derive it.
Okay, sir. Okay.
This will be the Taylor series expansion about the point 0. Basically, this is Maclaurin series expansion. Anyway, so you can verify this result. That is correct. What will be on the left numerator expansion? Tell me. What is the first term?
F dash alpha.
F dash alpha.
Okay. Plus epsilon n into f double dash
Epsilon.
alpha plus epsilon n square by factorial 2 into f triple dash alpha and so on. Basically, our aim is we have to keep only lowest order surviving term in epsilon n on the right hand side. So this is the right hand side expansion. So our aim will be to keep the lowest order surviving term in epsilon n. So we have to write down everything in terms of equation. No, only numerator term should be there, no denominator. Then only you can say what is the lowest order surviving term on the right hand side. Anyway, I will as I keep on writing, you will understand that. So what will be on the next line? Okay, left hand side we have epsilon n plus 1. What we have on the right hand side? What we have
Epsilon
on the
n.
right? Okay, and tell me what is f of alpha? What is this term? Alpha is the exact root. That will be 0.
Yes, sir.
Alpha is the exact root of the equation f of x equals to 0. That means f of alpha is 0. Okay. So now from remaining terms, I am taking f dash alpha common from both numerator and denominator. So take f dash alpha common from numerator. So if you take first term will be epsilon n plus second term will be f dash double dash alpha by 2 times f dash alpha into epsilon n square and remaining terms. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, same thing I'll be doing on the denominator. I'll take f dash alpha common. What will be the first term? 1 plus second term will be f double dash alpha by f dash alpha into epsilon n plus f triple dash alpha by 2 times f dash alpha into epsilon n square and the remaining term. Now from numerator and denominator, these two terms will be cancelled out. Okay. So left hand side we have epsilon n plus 1. What we have on the right hand side? Now to make the expression look simple, I am going to replace this term by some constant. You tell me anything. F double dash alpha by 2 times f dash alpha. You use any other symbol to make the expression look simple. Shall I use A, B, C, P, Q, R? Anything you say?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I
Yes,
am
sir. Yes, sir.
representing A. Okay. So epsilon n minus first term is epsilon n minus or not minus plus A epsilon n square and the remaining terms, and numerator term I'll be writing 1 by something. 1 plus I have to give 2 here and I have to give 2 here. Then only that will be A times 2 epsilon n. So 1 plus 2 A epsilon n plus the remaining term. Remaining term, if you use, you can write down each individual term next few. Okay. Is it okay? Is it okay so far?
Yes, sir.
Now this part I am going to write down as x, so that this last factor is 1 by 1 plus x type. I'll be using series expansion for that. Okay. So left hand side we have epsilon n plus 1. Right hand side we have epsilon n minus epsilon n plus a time epsilon n square plus the remaining term into, tell me the series expansion of 1 by 1 plus x, that is 1 minus x. So minus x will be 2a epsilon n plus few more terms plus x square. X square means 2a epsilon n plus the remaining term, that is square, and so on. So now everything written in terms of equation only, no denominator term is there. Now what about epsilon? Is that small quantity or large quantity? The error?
A small quantity, sir.
Small quantity. If it is large quantity, then you have some mistake. So it is not working. In a working method, the error must be small quantity. It should be very close to 0. It's not 0. It has to be less than 1. So if a quantity is less than 1, then which one is smaller? Suppose the quantity is let's say r, and r is less than 1. Then which one is smaller, r or r square?
R square.
R square. R cube will be much smaller. R power 4 will be even smaller than that. So since epsilon n is smaller, we will be neglecting the higher order terms. We will only be keeping the lowest order term. So epsilon, left hand side we have epsilon n plus 1. Right hand side we have epsilon n minus epsilon n plus a time epsilon n square plus the remaining term. And in the next factor, first term is 1 minus second term will be 2a epsilon n plus all other terms will be higher order. They all will be containing epsilon n square or more power. Yes or no? Any other term in the right hand side factor, let me highlight them. Any other term in this factor will contain epsilon n square or even higher than that? Yes or no? Only these two terms is lowest order 1 minus 2 epsilon n. Remaining term will contain epsilon n square, epsilon n cube, and so on. And if you multiply that factor with this factor, then the terms will be lowest order term will be epsilon n cube. So I'll be neglecting them because I'm going to keep only lowest order surviving term. So now do the multiplication. So neglecting higher order term here. Higher order term. So now you do the multiplication and tell me what you are getting here. Epsilon n minus. So first I'm going to multiply. Sorry. First I'm going to multiply epsilon n with these two terms. So tell me what you are getting. Epsilon n minus minus plus 2a epsilon n square. Okay. Next, I am going to multiply a epsilon n square with these two terms. So that will be minus a epsilon n square, then minus minus plus 2a square epsilon n cube plus the remaining term. Is not it? You do the multiplication, it will take some time to understand. Now here in last line, epsilon n and epsilon n is cancelled out, and from 2a epsilon square minus a epsilon square, you will be having a epsilon n square. Next term is 2a square epsilon n cube, and so on. Now since epsilon n is a small quantity and lowest order surviving term is square, so I will be neglecting all the remaining terms. I'll only be keeping the lowest order term. So that will give you epsilon n plus 1 is equals to a epsilon n square, not equals to, approximately equals to. So this is what does that tell you? Tells you, huh? What does that tell you? This last equation, what we have on the left hand side.
Order of convergence equals to 2.
Left hand side,
Error in nth term
plus
is
1
less than error in nth term.
Error in n plus 1 iteration is equals to a into second order of error in nth iteration. Second power of error in nth iteration. So if you compare this with this definition, epsilon n plus 1 less than equals to c times epsilon n power p, that will tell you sorry, p equals to 1. So that is why the Newton-Raphson method is having order of convergence 2. Hence, the order of convergence of NR method is 2. Successive approximation is very easy to derive. Sorry. Whenever you study a method, analytical calculations are required to know in details about the method. Successive approximation method. How this is working? How do we find a root in this method? Suppose the equation is f of x equals to 0. What do? We write this equation as
I
x equals to phi of x. Now, what kind of phi is this? Phi has to be differentiable, and derivative of phi should be, derivative of phi should be, tell me, phi dash x should be less than 1 in the considered interval. Suppose you want to find a root in the interval a comma b, then you will be choosing that phi which will be differentiable, and phi dash x will be less than 1 for all x belongs to the point a comma b. So that phi will be working. Now you have once choose that phi, how to generate the iterative method? Xn plus
Excuse me, sir.
1 equals to, yes,
So your voice was lagging. Can you repeat?
my voice is breaking.
So from successive approximation.
Okay, just a moment, huh? I'll be changing the network, huh? Just a moment. Am I audible now clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in successive approximation method, the equation is f of x equals to 0. And suppose you want to find a root in the interval a comma b. So how do we apply this method? We write the equation f of x equals to 0 as x equals to phi of x. Now which phi? That phi which is differentiable and derivative of phi is less than 1 for all x in the considered interval a comma b. So that phi we shall be choosing. Once you choose that phi, you write down, you create the iterative method as xn plus 1 equals to phi times xn. This is the iterative method. So let us see. So let alpha be the exact root. Let alpha be the exact root in the interval a comma b. Then what will be phi of alpha? Tell me what will be phi of alpha, not f of alpha. I am asking phi of alpha.
Alpha, sir.
Phi of alpha equals to alpha. Okay. Now let us look at the relationship of the error in n plus 1th iteration and nth iteration. So this is the error in n plus 1th iteration, alpha minus xn plus 1 or xn plus 1 minus alpha. Any one of them is okay. Sign will be later, we'll be considering the modulus, so sign does not matter. So alpha minus xn plus 1, that is the error in n plus 1th iteration, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So this is alpha, we know alpha equals to phi of alpha. And what is xn plus 1? Phi of
Xn.
xn. Now phi is differentiable. So we shall be applying Lagrange mean value theorem. So if you apply Lagrange mean value theorem, it will be alpha minus xn into phi dash c. C lies in alpha and xn, applying Lagrange mean value theorem. Lagrange mean value theorem, LMVT. So now take modulus both side. So mod of alpha minus xn plus 1 will be less than equals to mod of alpha minus xn into mod of phi dash c. Now what is mod of phi dash c? Left hand side we have mod of epsilon n plus 1, that is less than equals to mod of epsilon n. And what is phi dash c? That is less than 1.
1,
You see?
sir.
So into 1. So you are getting mod of epsilon n plus 1 is less than equals to mod of epsilon n. So if you compare with this definition of order of convergence, epsilon n plus 1 less than equals to c time epsilon n or p, what is p? And what is C?
1.
P1, C1. So order of convergence of successive approximation method is 1. So you see the derivation is very easy. Now the derivation of order of convergence of second method and regular Falsy method I am leaving up to you. You go through yourself. Okay. Now I am going to discuss the next root finding method, which is known as Muller's method. Muller's was a famous mathematician who derived the next numeric method to find root, which I am going to explain. Muller's method. So first you understand what we do in Muller's method, and then we'll derive. Derivation will be a bit lengthy, the formula. You do not have to remember the derivation of the formula. You only have to remember the formula, not the derivation. But to understand properly, you must have to know how we derive the formula. Because if I directly write down the formula, you will not get the flavor how the method works. Okay. So if you let me ask you, tell me how do we find out the root in Newton-Raphson method? How many initial guess we choose?
7.
1.
2, sir.
One. No, in our method only one initial guess, and then we, so suppose this is the, let me revise those methods once again a little bit. So if this is the equation, this is the curve y equals f of x, then we choose, this is the root alpha, we choose one initial guess x naught, and then we draw a point at, we draw a tangent at x naught comma f of x naught point. This is the dotted point which coordinate is x naught f of x naught. So we draw a tangent at that point. So the tangent where it crosses x axis, that is our next approximate root. Okay. Just a moment. This is the curve, this is the point, and this is the tangent. So this is our next approximate root, x1. So what we do, we approximate the curve near the root by a straight line. Tangent is a straight line. So what we are doing, we are approximating the curve near the root in NR method by a straight line. Same thing we do in regular Falsy method and second method. What we do in second method, if this is the curve y equals to f of x, and this is the root alpha, then in second method what we do, we choose two arbitrary points x0 and x1, and then we draw a point, we draw a chord joining the point P and Q, which coordinates are x0 f of x0 and x1 f of x1, and the point where this chord crosses x-axis, that is our next approximate root. So this is our next approximate root, x2. Okay. So again, what we are doing, we are approximating the part of the curve near the root by a straight line, and same thing happens in regular Falsy method also. We approximate the part of the curve near the root by a straight line. Now, straight line is not a good match to a curve. I'll show you with one example. Okay. Straight line is not a good match. So you consider this situation. Suppose the curve is this. This is x-axis. This is y-axis. And the curve is this one. Okay. So this is root. This is the root alpha. If the equation of the curve is y equals to f of x, then the root is given by alpha. Yes or no? Is it okay so far?
Yes, sir.
Now suppose you are applying Newton-Raphson method. Suppose you may apply Newton-Raphson, you may apply second, you may apply regular Falsy. Suppose you are applying Newton-Raphson method. Then what you will do, you will choose one initial guess. Suppose this is the initial guess not. Then what you will do, you'll draw a tangent at the point x naught comma f of x naught. So this coordinate is P, this point is P, which coordinate is x naught comma f of x naught. And then what you'll do, you'll draw a tangent through that point. So this is the tangent. So next, what you are doing, you put y equals to 0 in that tangent equation. That means you are making the height of the tangent equals to 0 to find the value of x. So you see basically what you are doing, you are forgetting about the curve and you are only solving the equation of a tangent. But see, you see, if I say that this tangent represent the curve, is that a good match? If I say that the tangent is representing the curve near the root, is that a good match? The tangent and the curve, are they matching?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir. No, sir.
So we can create a good match by increasing the degree of the considered curve, the straight line or the chord or the tangent. Instead of considering straight line kind of thing, in Muller's method, we will be considering a parabola. We will be approximating the part of the curve near the root by a parabola. So let us consider the same situation and let us try to approximate the curve near the root by a parabola and see whether that is a good match or not. So I'll be trying to draw exact same shape of the curve. So this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. The curve is this one. Okay, y equals to f of x. They almost look similar, they look similar, not exactly same. So now what we are going to do in Muller's method, we'll take 3 initial guesses instead of 1. In Muller's method, we are going to take 3 initial guesses, x0, x1, and let's say x2. We are taking 3 initial guesses. Then we'll have 3 points on the curve, P, Q, and R, whose coordinates will be x0 comma f of x0, x1 comma f of x1, and x2 comma f of x2. Then what shall we do? We'll draw a parabola passing through those 3 points, or quadratic polynomial passing through those 3 points. So if you draw a parabola passing through those 3 points, this is the equation of the parabola. Sum ABC will be there, ax square plus bx plus c for sum ABC. Now, if I say this parabola is representing the actual curve y equals to f of x near the root. Now, is that a good match compared to the tangent in NR method?
Yes, sir.
Not everywhere. In the neighborhood of the root, is that a good match? So this is the idea we are going to. Hello.
Excuse me, sir.
Uh-huh.
Sir, is it necessary that all the 3 points lie on the parabola?
It has to be lying. We are drawing particularly that parabola which will be passing through 3 points. You take any 3 nonlinear point. There exists a unique parabola passing through those 3 points. Okay. Is that result known to you? For any 3 nonlinear points, there exists a unique parabola or quadratic polynomial.
Yes, sir.
So you take any 3. So I've taken 3 nonlinear point P, Q, R. So I'll be particularly finding out that parabola which will be passing through these 3 points. So those 3 points, the parabola which is passing through, that I have represented by ax square plus bx plus c. Now that parabola is representing the actual curve y equals to f of x in the neighborhood of the root in a better way compared to the tangent, is not it? So this is the idea behind this. Instead of drawing a straight line or chord, we will be drawing a parabola. So let us consider the mathematical explanation, mathematical expression. So Suppose you want to solve f of x equals to 0. Okay, so in kth iteration, let us directly generate the formula. So in kth iteration, which values will be known to you? 3 previous values will be known to you, because you need 3 initial guesses. Or if you wish, let us start with the first iteration. So and then you can repeat that again and again. So suppose x0, x1 and x2 are 3 initial guesses of the root. Is that okay to you? So what are the corresponding y values? F of x0, f of x1, f of x2. Huh? So the 3 points are 3 points on the car bar. 3 points on the car y equals to f of x are x0 comma f of x0, x1 comma f of x1, and x2 comma f of x2. Is that clear to you?
Yes,
Is that
sir.
clear to you? So to make the expression short, I will be representing f of x0, f of x1, f of x2 by y0, y1, y2, or x0, y0, comma x1, y1, comma x2, y2. So these are the 3 points you have obtained from the 3 initial guesses of the root x0, x1, x2. So now you have to find out the parabola which will be passing through these 3 points. Once you obtain the parabola, then in that parabola you will put y equals to 0. The height of the parabola you will make it 0, and you will try to find out for which values of x the height of the parabola is 0, and that value of x will be the next approximate root, which will be x3. So let us first try to find out the parabola. So let the quadratic polynomial be take polynomial passing through above 3 point. Three points be above 3 points b. You make, tell me arbitrary equation, arbitrary parabola ax square plus bx plus c. Now you may assume this is the arbitrary equation of a quadratic polynomial or parabola. Now you know that this parabola is passing through the points x0, y0, xy11 and x2, y2. So you will get 3 equations, 3 unknown, and you can solve those 3 equations, 3 unknown to get the value of ABC. If you consider this kind of expression, the calculation will be a bit lengthy. So to make the calculation a bit simple, I am not considering this expression of the parabola. I am considering this one. Let the equation of the parabola be y equals to a into x minus xk whole square, not x minus xk, x minus x2. X minus x2 whole square plus b into x minus x2 plus c. Can I do that? Can I consider the initial, the parabola as y equals to a into x minus x2 square plus b into x minus x2 plus c? No harm, you can consider this is the parabola, because if you simplify, the x2 coefficient will be absorbed with the value of a and b and c, and you can declare them as new arbitrary parameter, new arbitrary constant. So this parabola is passing through the point x0, y0, x1, y1 and x2, y2. So tell me what is c. So if it, So if it is passing through x2, y2, what will we see? Put x equals to x2 and y equals to y2. What will we see?
Y2, sir.
So c
Y2.
equals to y2, very easily obtained. And now you have to pass the parabola through these 2 points, x0, y0 and xy11. So let us write down 2 more equations passing through xy11 and x0, y0. So y1 equals to a into x1 minus x2 whole square plus b into x1 minus x2 plus c, and another equation will be y0 equals to a into x0 minus x2 whole square plus b into x0 minus x2 plus c. Now value of c is known to you, so from these 2 equations you can modify them. A into x1 minus x2 whole square plus b into x1 minus x2 equals to y1 minus y2. Another equation will be a into x0 minus x2 whole square plus b into x0 minus x2 equals to y0 minus y2. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Now you have 2 equation, 2 unknowns. These are 2 equation, 2 unknown system. You can very easily solve by elimination method. So you use any kind of method you want to find out A, B, and C is already known to you. So if you do it, then you will get, let me write down. For the time being, you believe me, and later you can verify it. Okay? Because I do not have much time to show you the calculation. And this is very easy. I do not have to say about that. So the values will be, A will be equals to, so let me write down solving. A will be, let's say, x2 minus x0 y2 minus y1 minus x2 minus x1 into y2 minus y0 by x2 minus x1 x2 minus x0 x2 minus, sorry, x1 minus x0 into x1 minus x0. And B will be almost similar to A. So first let me write down B as A and then I will modify it. And I'll tell you where will be the modification. So x2 minus x0, y2 minus y1 minus x2 minus x1, y2 minus y0 by x2 minus x1, x2 minus x0, x1 minus x0, and the difference will be here and here. It will be square there and it will be square there. So that is the value of A and B, and C is equals to y2. So these are the values of A and B and C. Once you know the values of A and B and C, what you will do then? Once you have the values of A, B and C, you will have the parabola. So let us discuss the method now. So now the parabola is known to you. Now the parabola is y equals to a into, tell me, a into,
Plus bx plus c.
not ax square, a into x minus x2, that is what we considered. A into x minus x2 whole square plus b into x minus x2 plus c. Now to find out the next approximate root, what you will do? Put
Y is equal to 0.
y equals to 0 and x equals to x3, because x2 is known to you. So to get next approximate value, to get next approximate root, So to get next approximate root, put y equals to 0 and x equals to x3. So that will give you a into x3 minus x2, or you, for the time being, you do not put x equals to x3. Keep it like that, and in next line I will put x equals to x3. So that will give you a into x minus x2 whole square plus b into x minus x2 plus c equals to 0. From there you solve for x. So first you will be solving for x minus x2, which will be equals to minus b plus minus root over b square minus 4ac by 2a, and that will tell you x equals to x2 plus minus b plus minus b square minus 4ac by 2a. So that is the next approximate root. So put x equals to x3. So x3 will be equals to x2 plus minus b plus minus root over b square minus 4ac by 2a. So that's the next approximate root. Now we do a little bit calculation here. About computation here, you want to make the denominator as large as possible in this right hand, in this last term. To make the denominator as large as possible. So for that we do this calculation. So this will be x2 plus minus b plus minus b square minus 4ac by 2a into minus b minus plus root over b square minus 4ac by minus b minus plus root over b square minus 4ac. So what will be the numerator term and denominator term after this multiplication? So x2 will be there. What is this part? You do the multiplication and tell me this part. If you multiply, that will be 4ac. And
4ac, sir.
denominator we have 2a into minus b minus plus root over b square minus 4ac. So you will get basically this one. x2 here 2a will be cancelled out. So x2 plus 2c by minus b. Now minus plus minus does not matter. B square minus 4ac. So this is the next approximate value, x2 plus 2c by minus b plus minus b square minus 4ac. Now out of minus and plus, which one you should take? Here you see both minus and plus are there. So that sign will be taken for which denominator will be largest. That sign will be taken, that sign will be taken for which denominator is largest. Denominator is largest. If for minus sign denominator is largest, then minus sign will be taken. If plus sign, for plus sign denominator is largest, then we'll be taking plus sign. So that will be the next approximate root. That is x3. So if you choose three initial guesses x0, x1, x2, then by Buller's method, the next approximate root will be x3, which is given by this formula, and ABC are given by this. ABC are given by
Sir,
this.
hello. Sir, you said denominator should be largest, sir. It means, sir, its modulus should be largest, no?
Its modulus should be largest. You will
Okay.
be checking, you'll be taking that one for which the modulus of the denominator will be largest. Negative sign में अगर negative आ रहे हैं तब भी कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. But
Okay,
in
sir.
mod it should be largest. to avoid computational error. Remember, if you divide large number, any number by a small quantity, then there is a huge chance of error, is not it? So
Yes,
to
sir, yes.
avoid that thing, we want to make it larger. So this is the method. So now to get x4, what you will do? Tell me the idea. I will not do the calculation. Same calculation will be there. So tell me the idea to get x4. So to get x4, what are the previous three values? x3, x2, and x1. So the points will be x3, y3, x2, y2, and x1, y1. Now you are removing the first point, x0, y0. You are not talking about that. And then you will be finding the parabola passing through these 3 points, and you will determine what are the values of a, b, and c. Did you get my point? To get x4, what you will do? You will consider
Yes, sir.
previous three approximation of the root. They are x3, x2, x1. So the 3 points will be x3, y3, x2, y2, x1, y1, and then you will be finding the parabola passing through these 3 points. And in that parabola, you will put y equals to 0 to get the next approximate root x4, and so on. In this manner, you will be repeating the process. So let me show you the PDF note. From there, you will understand in a better way, because there I have derived the formula in k plus 1th iteration. So you see, these are the 3 values, 3 approximate root are known to you in kth iteration. In kth iteration, the 3 approximate previous roots are xk minus 2, xk minus 1, and xk. So next approximate root will be xk plus 1, that you will have to find out. So I have done the same calculation, and the formula for ABC will be little bit different. Instead of 1 to 0, 1, 2, there will be k minus 1, k minus 2. So you can go through it and you can remember this one. And I mean, you can, if you wish, you can make this expression for ABC bit simple by this substitution. You go through it, you will understand what are the shortest formula for ABC. If you wish, you can remember this one. Not hard to remember, because if you remember A, from there you can remember B, because only in 2 places there are the changes. 2 squares are there, and C is very easy to remember. Or you can remember the simple formula for A, B, and C, but you have to know the substitution. Okay, then we are solving the parabola to get the next approximate root. So I'll be discussing the example. Okay. So let us discuss the example, because without example, numerical methods are not at all easy to understand. So I am asking you to find a root of this equation by Muller's method. So the equation is x cube minus 2x plus 5 equals to 0. X cube minus 2x minus, here it is minus 5. Minus 5 equals to 0. Find a root, which by Muller's method, find a root find a root in between in the interval 2, 3. So it tells you one such information, that it is a root in the interval 2, 3. Now remember, this calculation looks very complicated, but basically you will not be performing by hand. You will write an algorithm and computer will do the job. So plus, minus, division, multiplication, that does not matter to computer. They are very, computer is very fond of that. This calculation does not matter. So our aim is to understand and then write a code. Anyway, so we have to find a root of this equation by Muller's method, which lies in 2 and 3. So tell me the 3 approximation you want to take. Which 3 points I should take? What should be x0, what should be x1 and what should be x2? Tell me any three guesses. Is it reasonable if I take x0 equals to 1, x1 equals to 2, x2 equals to 3?
No, sir.
Okay, tell me then which value I shall take.
2.53.
Okay, that I'll be taking. Fine. So then you will have to help me with the calculation, because in my copy I took 1, 2, 3. So if I take 2, 2.5 and 3, then you will have to help me with the calculation. Will you do that?
सर
हाँ,
सर जो गैस करने हैं जो रूट्स x0 x1 x2 वो 2,3 के बीच में ही ले सकते हैं या कोई भी पॉइंट्स ले सकते हैं?
कोई भी ले सकते हैं, ऐसा नहीं कि देखो आपको रूट मिला है 2 और 3 के बीच में. यू कैन डू दैट बाय डेकार्ट रूल ऑफ साइन, नॉट डेकार्ट रूल ऑफ साइन, बाय इंटरमीडिएट वैल्यू प्रॉपर्टी थ्योरम. ये आपको देखना है कि 2x वैल्यू चाहिए जिसके लिए फंक्शन एंड वैल्यू अपोजिट साइन होंगे, तो उन दोनों x वैल्यू के बीच में रूट होंगे, है ना. तो व्हाट इज f of 2? f of 2 will be equals to 8 minus 4 minus 5, so minus 1. Negative, what is 3? f of 3, 27 minus 6 minus 1, so that is basically 16. So एक था minus 1, एक है plus 16. So now we know we have a root between 2 and 3. If you want to make a strict guess, then you can apply bisection method one more time. Where does the root is lying, in 2 to 2.5 or 2.5 to 3? Accordingly, you can refine your initial guesses. It is up to you. There is no rule how to choose the initial guesses. One thing is mentioned in every method: it should be as much possible. It should be very close to the initial guesses. Then the method will be working very good way. Sorry. So shall I do 2.5 and 3? Shall I take? Or any other guesses you want me to take? Fine. So tell me what is f of x0? What is y0? Tell me what is y0? Y equals to x cube minus 2x minus 5. Tell me what is y0?
-1.
Huh? Minus 1. What is y1? Put x equals to 2.5 and do the calculation. You must keep a calculator with you.
5.625.
5.625. Is it correct? I will not be checking because I do not have the calculation.
Yes.
5.6 to 5. What is y2? 16, na?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then
Yes.
what is c? So let the parabola be y equals to a into x minus x2 whole square plus b into x minus x2 plus c. Then what is c? C is y2. You know, huh? If the equation of the parabola is this, then what is c? Just look, c equals to y2. So what is y2 here? 16. Okay. What is a? So write down the formula for a and substitute the values. So a will be x2 minus x0 into y2 minus y1. x2 minus x0 into y2 minus y1. Next term I can write down from this expression. It will be x1 minus x0 into x2 minus x0. This will be, just a moment, I have written wrongly. Let me look at the formula. Okay, x2 minus x1. x2 minus x1 into y2 minus y0 by x2 minus x1, x2 minus x0, x1 minus x0. That is A, and B will be similar to A. So x2 minus x0, y2 minus y1 minus x2 minus x1, y2 minus y0, one square will be there, another square will be there by the same denominator. x2 minus x1, x2 minus x0, x1 minus x0. So substitute the values and calculate. So let me do it for you. What is x2? x2 is 3 and x0 is 2. So this will be 3 minus 2 into y2. y2 is 16 minus y1, 5.625 minus x2 minus x1. x2 is 3, x1 is 2.5 into y2 minus y0. y2 is 16 minus 1, so it will be plus 1. Okay, by x2 minus x1, x2 minus x1, so that is 0.5. So 3 minus 2.5. Next is x2 minus x0, so that is 3 minus 2, and last one will be 2.5 minus 2. And B will be very similar to A, only 2 squares will be there. So that will be 3 minus 2 square, 16 minus 5.625 minus 3 minus 2.5 square, 16 plus 1 by 3 minus 2.5, 3 minus 2, 2.5 minus 2. So do the calculation and tell me the values. What is the values of A and B? What are the values of A and B? You tell me. With this iteration, I will how to get the next iteration and I end the class.
So A is minus 4.5 and B is 12.5.
12.5.
B.
A is 4 minus 4.5, B is 12.5. Somebody else please cross check it, say yes or no, then I'll use the formula to find out next approximate rule. Somebody else please cross check it. Is it correct, the value of A and B?
Sir, I am getting A equals to 7.5.
And B?
Yes, sir. 7.5.
Yes, sir,
7.5.
7.5.
B? B? Students, B. What is B? Am I not audible? Hello?
Sir, I think 24.5.
24.5.
24.5. Okay. 24.5.
Yes, sir,
Two
24.5.
of you are 20. Okay. So this is 24.5. So once you have the value of A, B, and C, you are ready to X4. No, X3. So X3 is x2 plus 2c. What is 2 into c? 2 into 16. 2c by minus b. Minus b is minus 24.5 plus minus root over b square minus 4ac. 24.5 square minus 4 into 7.5 into c is 16. So you'll be taking the minus sign here because the first term is minus 24.5. So you'll be taking minus sign. So what was x2? What was x2? Look at the initial guesses. x2 were 3. So it will
3.
be 3 plus in the numerator it is 32. In denominator it is, tell me, minus 24.5. Here I will be taking minus sign. Minus under root of what? Tell me, under root what? Under root of what? 24.5 square minus 4 into 7.5 into 16. Do the calculation and tell me what is next approximate root. So it will be, tell me. You make minus sign here and make them plus. So 3 minus 32 by what is the denominator term? 24.5, 24.5.
Sir, 2.33319.
So it is coming 2.33.
2.33319.
So this is the next approximate root according to you, is not it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the next approximate root. Now to get x4, you will repeat again once again. To get x4, you will choose x1, x2, x3, and corresponding y1, y2, y3, x1, x2, y1, y2, they are already been calculated. x3 you have now calculated. You have to calculate f of x3 equal to y3, and then you will consider a new parabola. Let the parabola be y equals to a into. So I'll just tell you the method and I'll leave it to you. A into x minus x3 whole square plus b into x minus x3 plus c. Then you will try to find out the values of a, b, and c. Okay. So you will repeat the same procedure and you will find out the values of a, b, and c. Once you find the values of a, b, and c, you will use the formula. X4 will be equals to x3 plus 2c by minus b plus minus root over b square minus 4ac. That formula. Did you get my point?
Yes, sir.
So this is how you will be applying Muller's method to find out the approximate root. Now let's check. No, after first iteration, it will not be very much close because it will be depending on the initial guesses. but after 3 and 4 iteration, it will be very close. This method has almost second order of convergence. Why almost? This is not exactly 2. The derivation is very difficult. The order of convergence for this method is very complicated. So that is why it has not been included in the syllabus. But although this method has almost second order of convergence, it is almost 2. So like Newton-Raphson method. Okay, so and so far, out so far. Okay, so if no doubt is there, fine. In the next theory class, we'll be discussing one more method, and root find will wrap up this particular unit. We'll complete this unit by next theory class, and then we'll start interpolation, data representation. Data representation. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. If not, you may leave the class.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
And
Thank you, sir.
Okay.